Hey YouTube, Point Shooter here. Well, today I'm doing a survival gear review. This is the Adventure Medical Kit's Spark Lite. This is from my local Sports Authority store, and I found it on clearance for, believe this, $2.97, which was way marked down from the normal retail price. They sold them for $10, and I've seen them other places, maybe $10 to $12. You can get them Eastern Mountain Sports, REI, any of those places. The Spark Lite is basically, it's a spring-loaded fire sparking tool, and it includes cotton swabs soaked in petroleum jelly or some other sort of flammable compound. And the idea is that you take the Spark Lite and then see where the arrows facing towards you, and you push with downward pressure and strike it just like a disposable lighter. And what it is it allows you to direct sparks onto your tinder. What you would do is you would take this out of the package, fluff it up a bit, and sort of open it up, and then strike right into this, and then have your kindling, place it on top as it burns. These tinder quicks will burn for 2 to 3 minutes and gives you plenty of time to get your fire going. 2 to 3 minutes if you have really wet kindling or wet wood. It burns basically like a little candle, and it should give you plenty of time to get your fire going. They sell the tinder quicks separately. What I do is I get these from the dentist's office. These are just dental cotton swabs, and they're wrapped in string, so they're basically just a larger version of these, and then just smear them with Vaseline or petroleum jelly myself. You can also take these jumbo cotton balls and do the same thing, and then seal them up in a Ziploc bag. You can also use dryer lint, which is my favorite method of starting fires because it's free. It just comes out of the dryer, and you can amass a lot of it pretty quickly. We've been saving it for maybe 5-6 months, and we've got a gigantic bag of it. So dryer lint, tinder quicks, you could even use magnesium. This is a Doan machining tool magnesium bar. If you were to scrape, if you just had the magnesium part of this, you could ignite it with the Spark Lite. But if you have this, you probably don't need this. So a little bit about the actual tinder quick itself, or the Spark Lite itself. It is the same style as a Bic lighter. It's basically everything a Bic lighter is, except it doesn't have a fuel source. It does not have a compressed butane. It works the same way, but with a Bic lighter or a disposable lighter, there's a gas jet here that feeds the butane up, and that's what gives you that spark. So this is the exact same concept, except it relies on tinder to give you your ignition. So you can build, the main reason I held off on buying one of these was I read the Ranger Digest by Ranger Rick Tishernay, and he talked about how you can modify a empty Bic lighter. Once all the fuel is gone, you can take the metal shield off and cut the housing and build something that's virtually identical to the Spark Lite. The one nice thing about the Spark Lite, though, over a Bic lighter is that it's very solid. There's really no chance of that wheel coming out. It would be very difficult to break that. Now, if you had it and it got bent in half, you could break it. You know, it's not indestructible. The original version of this was actually made out of brass. The history of it was that it was brass, and it had replaceable flints that were had a little set screw at the bottom that you could put new flints in it, just like a Zippo lighter. But the plastic was lighter, more visible, and it eventually won out. These are issued in the Air Force as they call it an aviation fire starter, aviation Spark Lite, and they're usually olive drab. The orange is more geared towards the consumer market. Now, comparing it to something like a flint and steel magnesium bar here, this is a Doan machining tool. I really like that the magnesium bar is self-contained, that you don't have to worry about losing the tinder or going and finding tinder, that you can take the striker, or you could even just take a piece of broken glass and you can shave down the magnesium to a pile and then hit it with the sparking rod, and presto, you've got ignition. They both are water resistant. This is really waterproof. As long as you dry it off before you intend to use it, this is not going to fail because of water. However, the Spark Lite, if it gets wet and water gets down in here, you're going to have to spin it slowly and then dry it off first before you're able to spark it. And it might even take a little bit of time, maybe blowing some air through there before it'll spark. It's just like if you get a Bic lighter or another lighter wet, they usually don't ignite right away. So overall, I think it's a nice fire starting tool. It's not maybe the only one that I'd rely on. I would have a well, I always would say have a backup. But since it's relying on other tinder, it's not self-contained, I would always have a backup. But I think that, as they say, two is one is none. So I would pair this with maybe a flint and steel, or you could even pair it with a Bic lighter or matches. So it really would be up to you. Now, question of value. At $3, this is a great value, and I actually picked one up as to have a spare. But would I pay $10 to $12 for it? Probably not. When you can get one of these for maybe $5 to $7, I would go with the magnesium bar personally. But if you are a fan of adventure medical kits, or like the gadget stuff, this is pretty cool, and the coolness factor is definitely there. This is not something that I would maybe use for, they advertise it for lighting barbecue grills and things like that. This is more of a campfire starter in my opinion. I think you could definitely light other things with it, but at the same point, I would stick to it for sort of the survival purposes. On the back, it gives a little bit of information. It talks about that it will go for up to 1,000, maybe over 1,000 sparks. Each Tinder Quick burns for 2 to 3 minutes, and these are available separately, but as I mentioned before, I would just take the cotton balls and Vaseline and make your own. What else it does? It's you could also use it as a signaling device, that especially with search and rescue using night vision, that this is something that is one-handed. That's one of the main advantages of it, is that with one hand, even with just a few fingers, you can strike it. If you lost dexterity due to hypothermia, it might be a little bit hard to run that wheel. So sometimes having a striker would be a little bit easier. But this is truly one-handed, and I think that that is a good reason to include it in a kit. One of the other things that's nice about it is the bright color. You're not likely to lose it. I wrapped took Cody Lundine's advice and wrapped my magnesium bar in yellow tape. One of the other cool things about it is that it's very lightweight, and it should be airplane friendly, and I believe. This is something that you could, I'm sure, carry on. You'd have to check with TSA about that. But something like this, they might not let you take the striker blade with you. So overall, I think it's a good value. I think that it's a pretty cool little gadget, and it would make a great gift for somebody who's into survival or bushcraft. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Feel free to get in touch with any questions or comments, and I hope everybody stays safe in the heat. Take care, and always remember that as Cody Lundine says, the more you know, the less you need. Take care. This is Point Shooter signing out.